Buddha. share, a little bit about her story, share, and just send out love and support to her and her family, man. I know it's still hard for them. Even though it's been a few years, it's still, you never get over it. You never do. Okay? I don't care. A loss is a loss, and still it hurts. I'm sure it hurts like it happened yesterday, especially with this guy being sentenced. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, him being sentenced, I know it brings up a lot of, brings up a lot of, memories. We're in 2023. This shit happened 5 years ago, and now he's finally being sentenced. Yeah, charge it to the game. Let's go ahead and get into this, you guys. I want to show you a little bit of what happened. This is the opening statement for the defense. They started off, but I want to show you a little bit more. Iyana's sister does testify. A lot of her family members actually testified against him, saying that they thought it was him the whole motherfucking time. So let's get into it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you guys enjoy what we put together for you today. If you want to see the memoirs for Jaguar, we do have, like I said, 4, 5, 6, and 8. And we're going to play them here and also on You Can't Fit With Us. So if you're ready, make sure you go over there and subscribe, like, and share the videos. Let's get into this right now. Thank you for being here, and let's start the show.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Robert Davis. Myself, along with Christine Michelle, represent Jonathen Quiles in this matter. As stated, the state, Mr. Skinner, Ms. French, they represent the state. These are great people that have a very tough job. But that does not mean that they don't have to meet their burden. Burden is they have to prove that Mr. Quiles is the one that committed this crime. That crime, as you can see, is that a premeditated first-degree murder. They have to prove that Mr. Quiles is the, in fact, person who killed, and I'll say it just once, Iyana Sawyer and her unborn child. They have to prove that.
One thing I'm going to say about this, you guys, her unborn child belonged to Mr. Jonathen Quiles, okay? So the unborn child was her uncle's. He is her uncle, so check it.
And they also have to prove that he premeditated it and did it in such a way to make sure, as the state said, that this was a heinous crime. I submit to you, as you hear testimony over the next week, week and a half, the state will not be able to meet that burden. You, ladies and gentlemen, are the trier of fact. You are going to be hearing the testimony. You will be determining who's telling the truth. You will be determining who's making assumptions and who is not. Now, next one, Kristen. The state has also proved the issue or the charge of sexual battery. They are saying that Jonathen Quiles did, in fact, have sex with his niece, IS. That's the state's version.
Now, you guys remember something that they are saying IS for a reason, okay? They're saying IS, number one, because she is a minor. When all this shit happened, you guys, she was 15 going on 16 years old. So she's 16 years old. She is a minor. So now that they're repping this case, coming out here right now, and they just charged him October 20th, they're saying IS because she is legally a freaking minor, pregnant 5 months by her damn uncle. You know what I'm saying? And he tried to hide it. And that's the reason why, he took her life, because he didn't want anybody to know about the shit. But, as you see, you're going to hear a little bit further along, is that, the damn family, they were already looking at him, he was arrested 3 weeks after Iyana came up missing, okay? She came up missing December 18th of 2008. So just a few weeks before Christmas break, Okay, 3 weeks after that, he was arrested. He was in custody. All right, so that's one thing that they're not either.
That is what they are saying. I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that at the end of the day, they will not be able to meet that burden. After you hear all the testimony, they will not be able to prove that Jonathen Quiles is in fact the father of the unborn child. There will be speculation that he is. There will be assumptions that he is. And we believe that the testimony you're going to hear by the family, as the state said, they're going to come in here. This is a big family. They're, for the most part, a fairly tight-knit group. But they will be assuming that based on that July weekend and thereabouts in that short time frame, they will be assuming that Jonathen Quiles is the one that fathered that child. There will be no direct evidence to say that he did. You will not hear it. You will hear from SS, who says she believes that he's the father. You're going to hear from Kimberly Mobley, the mother of IS. She believes that he's the father. But again, there will be no direct evidence. There will be no DNA to say he's the father. There will be no corroboration of that other than they believe he did it. Go ahead. The state must prove that Jonathen Quiles was in fact the person that killed IS. Again, they have to prove this, and they have to prove it in such a manner that it is beyond a reasonable doubt that Jonathen Quiles is the one that did it. The state is going to bring in detectives, various witnesses, all kinds of people.
And trust me, they did. They brought in various witnesses. They sure did. They brought in her sister. They brought in the aunt. You know what I mean? They brought in the mother. They brought in various witnesses. And they did because, listen, they were able to give this guy 20 years to life with no parole and no possibility of parole. They were looking at the death penalty because this is a Florida case. This happened in Jacksonville, okay? So they were ready to go ahead and bring in everybody. They brought in the family members. They brought in a whole bunch of people. This is the defense's opening case. This is their opening statement because there was no body found. They searched the landfills and all that shit, but once they searched the landfill, they still did not find her. Okay? So they still didn't find her after they searched the landfill. So these defense attorneys are going after the fact that they had no body. But at the end of the day, she was pregnant, you know what I'm saying, with his baby. So 3 weeks after her disappearance, they had enough evidence to arrest him and put his ass where he needed to go during this investigation, and then still charge him 4 years, 5 years later, with 20 years to life. Listen, the death penalty was definitely on the table. So he had like a countdown with the jury for 3 hours plus, with the jury deciding if they should go ahead and slide his ass to the death penalty because it was a death penalty case. And that was just it. So let's not get shit twisted. It was a death penalty case, and he took the deal with the whole little, you know, I'll take 20 years without the possibility of parole. So meaning you're gonna go ahead and die in jail. You're gonna die there. But he just didn't want to go faster, no good and well what he did to his damn niece. And then the other niece, which is the sister of Iyana Brown, you're going to hear in this recording where she speaks up too. So check it out. Just listen. Here we go. Let's get back to the content.
People from throughout the county over a very lengthy investigation. The state clearly said it. They don't have a body. We believe that you are going to hear that there.
And trust and believe me, you guys, they're hanging on for dear life with this. We don't have a body shit. But they have so much evidence surrounding it that him throwing her into a landfill, because they also have video of him going to the landfill and people seeing him at the landfill. But, the landfill was searched a year later and they didn't find anything but some of Iyana's belongings. You will see that in this video. So them not having a body, they're going hard on him not having a body. They keep on watching.
They're assuming that the scene is Ace Pick-a-Part, where Mr. Quiles worked. You will hear the testimony that, yes, IS left Terry Parker High School and she was last seen around 11 o'clock on December the 18th. They cannot say for certain that she went to Ace Pick-a-Part where Mr. Quiles worked. They're going to show you these videos. You're going to see it. What you're not going to see is IS at Ace Pick-a-Part. What you're not going to see is any blood of a crime scene where he's alleged to have murdered her there. What you're not going to see is an actual killing and the use of a gun to kill IS, as the state has alleged. You're not going to see it. Therefore, we believe they cannot meet their burden of premeditated murder. And therefore, we believe there will be reasonable doubt.
And she's been saying that prosecutors have been talking all about how Quiles murdered his pregnant niece, Iyana Sawyer, at his job, a junkyard on Jacksonville's north side. Jessica?
Right, Jeannie, that's what they're saying. And then they say he got rid of her body at a landfill on the west side. We heard testimony from the general managers of each of those places today. Prosecutors say they found items missing from 16-year-old Sawyer's room at Otis Road landfill, which is described by its general manager as massive. Also, this is a landfill for construction material, not household items. The general manager testified in December 2018 when Sawyer disappeared. They were up to 200 trucks coming in each day with construction and demolition debris. The amount of debris investigators searched through to try to find evidence was around 5,500 tons. And according to the landfill general manager, this is a lot to do, almost impossible to find something like a needle in a haystack. Now, they never found Sawyer's body, and the GM from Quiles' job at the junkyard, which is called Ace Pick-a-Part, he testified Quiles was one of about 16 employees who worked outside. He said the large commercial dumpster on the junkyard's property was emptied either the same day or the next day after somebody noticed it was full and made a call to the company that empties it. Prosecutors believe this is how Sawyer's body was taken to the landfill.
It's very, very difficult to find anything once it hits the ground at the landfill, especially 3 or 4 weeks out.
We also saw clips of surveillance video from the junkyard where Quiles worked. He is seen driving into areas where employees usually don't go, according to his boss. Quiles is also seen interacting with a person driving a truck carrying a dumpster off of the property. And this
See, so again, you guys, like I said, this guy was arrested 3 weeks after her disappearance. He was already seen at the landfill doing weird shit. They said that, at one time she was last seen at school, but she was also seen at his workplace too. So him going around and doing that definitely put his ass as a suspect. That definitely put him in jail 3 weeks after her disappearance. Okay. So that landfill that he worked at, like the job, like the owner said, there's no way that once everything hits the landfill, like you're not finding anything. And so he thought he was safe. In that moment, he most definitely thought he was safe.
studio, Jessica Clark, First Coast News, on your side.
Correct.
That's something you never told police. Not even to this day, as you sit here right now.
Now we're going to get into the sister's testimony really quick. So let me tell you, the sister, real quick, the sister had some things to say about the abuse. Okay, so here's the prosecutors trying to tear her up on the verdict field. They're trying to tear her ass all the way up because they're saying that she never mentioned the abuse, but why is she mentioning it now? So now she's talking about what really happened, between the uncle, and sharing her thoughts too as well. So listen to her, on the stand, and the prosecutor really trying to get in there and dig it.
Correct?
I guess.
You were actually asked by your Aunt Naomi when allegations and accusations started coming up about your Uncle John having any sort of sexual relationship with your sister. You were asked by your aunt if he had done anything to you.
I was never asked by her.
You claim as you sit here that she never asked you if anything inappropriate happened between the two of you. Let me finish the question before you answer.
No, I would just ask that counsel not be argumentative with the witness.
Why don't you just rephrase the question?
Judge, I was just trying to stop to make sure that the record was clear, but
I understand. I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying just rephrase the question.
of course. You're claiming that your Aunt Naomi never asked you whether there was any sort of sexual encounters, interaction, or anything between you and Mr. Quiles.
I don't recall her asking.
You don't recall her asking that question at all.
No,
Is your statement that she did not ask you that?
not that aunt.
Not that what?
Aunt.
Other aunts asked you though,
Yes.
and you told them nothing ever happened.
Correct.
All right, let me talk about the first encounter that you described.
So my thing is, I'm wondering why she told him nothing ever happened, because, if she knew, she knew. She knew something happened, but maybe at the time she was scared. I don't know, but let's get into it. Let's figure out why.
You stated you're at the beach, that you believe it was yourself, your sister, IS, and Mr. Quiles and his daughter, NQ, correct?
Correct.
But in fact, your brothers were there as well, KM and SG, correct?
No.
You don't recall telling police that your brothers were also present at that beach.
I don't recall them being there.
All of these people are on the beach, and you're claiming that just you were in the water when this sexual encounter occurred.
In that area, yes.
So they were all sitting on the beach, didn't notice anything going on in the water whatsoever.
No.
You never told any police officer about this beach incident.
I don't recall.
It wasn't until you were in your deposition in February of 2022, more than 3 years later, that you disclosed this beach incident, correct?
I'm not good with dates.
it wasn't any time close to when this incident occurred. And it definitely wasn't in that 4 months after conversation that you had with Detective Milowicki where you came clean about everything that happened between you and Mr. Quiles. Correct?
Correct.
As far as the incident that you described that happened in the van, today you testified that you were headed to Winn-Dixie and that he took you to some undisclosed or isolated area. You don't recall where that was or anything along those lines?
No.
Do you recall telling police that at one point it was in the abandoned parking lot near the Winn-Dixie?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling police that at some point his daughter was in the car with you during some incident?
I don't recall.
Does Mr. Quiles have any, since you have testified that you all have had these sexual encounters, does Mr. Quiles have any distinct markings on his genitalia?
Not that I recall.
You've stated this throughout your testimony on direct, but I'm going to ask it to you again. At no point in time throughout this time period that you allege that these incidents occurred, did you ever mention anything to anyone, correct?
No.
Even in this incident that you allege where your Aunt Naomi was awake and within talking distance, you never said anything to her?
No.
You never yelled out, you never did anything along those lines?
No.
Even after your sister went missing, there were allegations of sexual abuse of your sister. You still, even then when you were asked, did not tell the truth about what you now claim happened. Correct?
Correct.
That's a serious situation going on if your sister's not being found, correct?
You think?
And you still didn't think that, hey, maybe I should disclose this information so that they know, hey, Mr. Quiles, he's been sexually abusing me and my sister. But you didn't think to do that, did you?
No.
So have you guys heard that? See, so that's what I mean. So the sister, she's saying to be what? Her and the sisters. So they get to the bottom of this because they're trying to figure out why. You know, she changed her statement of what really happened. So I think it really went down, but I think she was scared of the time to really open up and say those things.
You would agree that there has been little to no consistency in what you allege to have happened between you and Mr. Quiles.
No.
You started off saying he never did anything to you, correct?
Correct.
You changed, though, to what happened, when it happened, how many times it happened, who was there when these things happened. So many details of these incidents that you laid out vary depending on the day that you're asked. Got to be a lot to keep a track of, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further.
SS, do you go about your life wanting to think about the defendant sexually abusing you?
No.
Is it in fact something that you don't even want to think about?
Correct.
Do you want to forget about it?
Yes.
And did you ever tell anyone what the defendant did to you?
No.
Did you ever go to your mom and tell her?
No.
Were you in fact the one that got confronted about it?
Yes.
And was that because your mom had found something?
Yes.
And based upon that, did your mom then confront you?
Yes.
Had your mom not found something and had not confronted you, would you have told?
No.
Were you afraid to tell anything?
Yes.
So you did not freely tell this information, did you?
No, I didn't.
Were you also protecting your sister?
Yes.
And why?
I thought she was going with my grandma and uncle.
Can you, I know it's hard. Take a moment and breathe. I just want to make sure we all hear you, okay?
I thought she was going with my grandma and I wanted to keep our friendship.
Did you think if you told about the sexual abuse that your sister would be mad at you?
Yeah.
And did you want to keep her secret from the world?
Yeah.
If you could.
Yeah.
But you couldn't, could you?
No.
Your mom found out.
Yeah.
Did your mom ask you any details about the sexual abuse when this first came out, when your mom found out?
Yes.
Did you want to tell her much?
No.
And did your mom respect that?
Yes.
And this was your mom finding out about the defendant sexually abusing you. That happened while your sister is missing. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Why in April were you ready to tell more about the sexual abuse?
She wasn't coming back.
You need a moment?
Okay.
I'm almost done, I promise. Is that when you knew you could break the promise to your sister?
Yeah.
And is that why you're willing to tell all about the defendant sexually abusing you?
Yeah.
Nothing further.
Ma'am, thank you for your testimony.
A warm welcome to our guest for this hour, retired NYPD executive and author of Once a Cop, Corey Pegues, and former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Gentlemen, I want to say, wait. Did the defense just misstep? Because we know it is typical for a victim of sexual abuse to be groomed, embarrassed, maybe threatened, shamed, not to disclose. So when I hear cross-examination that frankly was aggressive against this victim, according to the victim's testimony on the stand, saying, well, you didn't tell your mother, did you? And it's a lot to keep track of, and you didn't tell anybody. Well, of course you didn't tell anybody. That's to be expected when you're a victim of this kind of sexual abuse. Corey, let me start with you, please.
Yes. Good afternoon to both of you. She was very brutal. It was a very brutal cross-examination, and I think it might backfire on her because it was very aggressive.
What did you think, Nima? Will it backfire? Was it aggressive from your perspective as a former federal prosecutor?
Actually, I agree with you and Corey. I mean, it was shameful, victim shaming. You know, this is the psychology of an abuse victim, someone who has now lost her sister, and both her and her sister were sexually abused, at least allegedly, at the hands of their uncle, one of them becoming a murderer. So to go after a victim like that aggressively, I understand that defense attorneys have to do their job and advocate on behalf of their client. But personally, as someone who's prosecuted sex crimes, as someone who's represented victims of sexual assault and sexual abuse, it was shameful. And if I'm on that jury, I end up punishing that defendant because of how his lawyer treated that victim. I mean, I think it was over the top, and I really liked how the prosecution came back and redirected her and explained to the jury why, when you've been sexually abused by a close family member, you're not going to run to the police. You're not going to go tell your mom. I mean, this is unfortunately typical for these types of cases.
Do you think it requires now for the state to call an expert to testify about how a sex abuse victim responds, reacts, doesn't disclose, is shamed, is groomed, is threatened? I mean, I'm a little infuriated by the way the cross-examination was handled. It's her decision. It's her strategy, but I have to say, when you hear someone explaining the details of the horrific abuse at the hands of her own uncle, it really, I think, is just not a good way to go. Nima, let's go reverse order. Let me start with you.
I agree, Ashley. I do call an expert, and there's plenty of them that'll testify about why victims don't come forward, why you don't have those contemporaneous reports. And like you said, I think anyone who's either been through this or knows someone who has understands why sexual assault sexual abuse. These are two of the most underreported crimes in this country. And it's really because of this. Victims are re-victimized again when they tell their story. They're accused of lying. They're accused of fabrication. They're cross-examined in this really aggressive manner. So, I think from the prosecution's perspective, even though that was terrible for your victim witness, I think that it really did a disservice to the defense, because if I'm on that jury and if I'm watching here on court TV, I'm appalled that someone would treat a childhood victim of sexual abuse like this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. All right, Corey, let me tap into your expertise and talk about the particular charges this defendant is facing and what some viewers are saying is a lack of evidence, because the sexual battery against Iyana is one piece, but also 2 charges of murder, the murder of her as well as the murder of her unborn baby. But the defense says, and it's true, she hasn't been found. The unborn baby hasn't been found. They don't know where she is. And there's no forensic evidence, as I understand it, connecting him to the actual murder of her and the unborn baby. Is this something you think a state can overcome when there's been a thorough investigation, but none of that's been found?
Oh, yeah, they can overcome it. This is definitely a circumstantial evidence case, but the testimony of the brother is going to be vital to this. Their history, any other witnesses that have seen them together or she disclosed the information to. This is a hard puzzle, but you can put the puzzle together and get the conviction.
Well, I hope, based on what.
And I'll tell you, they definitely put this damn puzzle together, you guys, and they got the conviction on this one. Even with nobody. I mean, he was facing the death penalty. Period. This was his niece. He didn't want this shit to come out. I mean, she was 5 months pregnant with his child. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had already, you seen the sister confess, to the sexual abuse, to her too as well. So this shit was really messy as fuck when he decided to murder his own niece. Okay, so this shit was going to come out no matter what. Okay? Yeah, the defendant was sexing both nieces, right? Nobody knew. Exactly, Jane Locke, nobody fucking knew, period. So this shit was going to come out. What were you going to do? Kill them both? Like, for real, what was going to happen? Like, so this shit was premeditated. They arrested him 3 weeks after they had to have had something more. That landfill, like, it didn't turn up her body, but still, at the end of the day, he was looking at the death penalty for the unborn child and his niece that they knew. Period. No body, but you're still getting 20 years. 20 years with no possibility of parole. Like, you were sexing them both. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even the family, well, watch, we're going to get there. Because I still wasn't satisfied. I still think you should have got some more.
Based on what we've heard so far, because it does sound like it's a compelling case for the state and the evidence that they have.
The jury find Jonathen Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
A Jacksonville jury recommended life in prison for the man accused of killing his own niece and her unborn child after raping and impregnating her. We brought you that decision live on Action News Jax at 5, and new tonight, the family of the murder victim, Iyana Sawyer, is responding to the jury's recommendation. I'm Tanika Hughes.
I'm John Bachman. Action News Jax. Ed Gutierrez is live in front of the Duval County Courthouse, and the family says justice was finally served.
Yes, it was. Iyana Sawyer's family says whether it was the death penalty or life in prison, they're just happy to know that Jonathen Quiles is off the streets and suffering consequences. Now, as I mentioned, the death penalty was table, but after about an hour and a half of deliberation, the jurors made a unanimous decision to recommend life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It's very overwhelming, but it's a very joyous feeling. This has been almost 5 years coming, and justice has finally been served.
After more than 2.5 weeks, jurors in the Jonathen Quiles murder trial officially finished their duty. Last week, Quiles was found guilty of all charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder in the raping and killing of Iyana Sawyer, who was his 16-year-old niece. She was pregnant when she was killed in December 2018. Investigators never found her body after they say Quiles left it in a dumpster. But today, they unanimously recommended Jonathen Quiles be sentenced to life in prison instead of the death penalty.
We, the jury, find Jonathen Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Iyana Sawyer's aunt, Paula Dixon, said they will never have closure, but they have comfort knowing Quiles won't be able to do this to anyone else.
So are we satisfied? Completely. His death will do nothing for us. It won't bring our loved one back. It'll never cover what we cost. So he can live the rest of his life knowing that he did not get away with what he did to our family.
Nobody won in this case at all.
Quiles' defense lawyers say they respect the jury's decision and realize Iyana Sawyer's family won't ever be the same.
The victim's family has to go through this with no one and knowing that they've lost their loved one.
Sawyer's family is still grieving and are asking for privacy and prayers, but they are thankful to everyone who helped in this case.
There's no words that we can express to show our gratitude for what everyone has done to bring justice to our family.
And the judge has set the status hearing for this Thursday at 1:30 p.m. And that's when Jonathen Quiles will find out when he will be sentenced. For local coverage you can count on, live in the courthouse, Annette Gutierrez, Action News Jax.
Yes, you guys, so check that out. Okay, so Jane Locke, is that better? Testing, 1, 2, 3. So check it out. So listen, so this piece of it, hold on a second, let's get right now. So this whole piece of it, I think that he definitely deserved what he got. I like having his death, him dying like that is not going to do anything for us. He can live the rest of his life like that, right? And she's satisfied. Period, point blank. She's satisfied. I'll take that. Now, me, in my mind, I'm thinking, man, slide. I'm gonna get that death penalty. You know what I mean? You take my daughter's life, son's life, go and get that death penalty popping. You take a life, you pay a life. But, I like what the family said, how resolved they were just with saying, look, you know what? You got the rest of your life to think about it. So that's good enough for us. Justice was served. So they're peaceful about it. Like they're good. It's good within their soul. I think that was a rough case. That's his own niece. Yeah. And the other niece is still alive. So imagine that. You know what I mean? And when he got sentenced, just recently, they did a countdown. So it was either death penalty or life in prison without parole. So, it was very intense. You know what I mean? Very intense. So the defendant is the mother or father's brother. Yes. So the defendant is the uncle. Period. Yeah. So it's the uncle. Okay, so I'm not sure which one it is, whether it's the mother or the father's brother, like whose side he's on, but I just know that he is the uncle of Iyana Sawyer. So yeah. So I don't know what side he's on, but yeah, that's a crazy story. So very intense. Some crazy ass things going on in the world right now. So we definitely tapped into that. I'm glad that's over with. It should happen in 2018. So now, it's all over. So, I know the family now has closure. I think it's hard for them not having a body. I think that piece of it is still, very hard for them to swallow, not knowing, where her body was. So at least they could lay her to rest. So I do want to, again, send condolences to the family, from, Trigger to the end of Hearts for Humanity. I definitely want to send that, and shout out to them, hopefully they find peace in a great place, even with that peace not being resolved. I think justice was served, on their end. So it's a great story. It's an intense story. It's not a great story. It's a great ending because the family is resolved. A lot of families are not resolved with that kind of stuff. A lot of families are like, why he didn't get that penalty? A lot of families are pissed off. You see a lot of anger in cases like this. So to hear the family be like, you know what, he doesn't need to pass away. Just let him take his life to think about it. It was very, refreshing to hear a response like that. Coming from a family that's grieving so hard. So it was very refreshing. But you guys, thank you for joining Trigger TV. You know, we definitely, like I said, one foot in, one foot out. We gotta do something different. You know what I mean? It definitely was a damn shame. Damn shame for real. Jane Locke, for real. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to Jane Locke, and definitely shout out to Dark Trish for being in the motherfucking building. You know what I mean? We love you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here and rocking with us and stocking with us. We're gonna be doing some different stuff. You know, we got the memoir of Jaguar Wright coming up, but you know, we're gonna do it just once a week, maybe. You know, once a week, maybe twice a week, maybe, with the 2 episodes. We're not gonna do them every damn day because I think it's just gonna wear that shit out. We don't want to wear it out. All right, so once a week. And remember, we're dropping, and you can't sit with us too, so go to the back of the page as well, okay? We're dropping in both places, all right? So definitely thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that like button or dislike, either way. But we love you so much, and thank you for stocking and rocking with us, you guys. Thank you for being in the building, for sure, okay? We love you so much. Make sure you come back and continue to join us. You know, I'll be up in the building tomorrow. We might do something different. We might drop the memoir tomorrow, maybe. Yeah, go ahead and get that shit out the way. Go ahead and bust it down, bust it down. You know, reason not to bust it down. Jake been chilling, but we want to drop something different, something, you know, a little bit more refreshing than Jaguar. Jaguar's getting boring. You know, she got her arrest warrant, you know, some other shit. I mean, now she's another popcorn of Johnny. What flavor is it today? You know, is it cheddar? Is it motherfucking caramel? What is it, motherfucker? Is it cinnamon? What is it? What Johnny popcorn is it? That shit is boring as fuck. I do something different. So we are definitely out. We love you. Hit that like button, and I will see you definitely tomorrow. I will see you on the next one. Peace, and I am out. Love you guys. Thanks for joining us. See you on the next one. Peace to you too, Dark Trish, and let me see it now. Let me see y'all shake it now. Go ahead and let me see them bangs in the chat, Dark Trish. Let me see them bangs in the chat now, Jane Locke now. Go ahead and bust them bangs in the chat, Big J, where y'all hopping now? Let me see them bangs in the chat now. Go ahead and smash it for me now. Go ahead and smash them big bangs in the chat now. Come on now. Listen, I'll take the motherfucking the bangs in the chat or the motherfucking loyal ones right now. Go ahead and bang me in the chat. Show you rocking with Trigger right here, real quick. Go ahead and bang with the chat. Throw them bangs in the chat, man. Come on. I'll take these loyal ones real quick. Hey, go let's give them bangs in the chat. Let me see a bang with it. Let me see it shaking now. Come on now. Make sure you smash that like button, you guys. We love you so much. Let me see them hearts in the chat. Yes. Them hearts in the chat. Yes. Put them hearts up. Yes. That's how we rocking and stocking. Please throw them hearts up in the chat. Yes. Show them how we coming. Yes. We doing like that. Yes. Yeah. Come on. Throw them hearts and them things up in the motherfucking chat. I love the motherfucking building. Love in the motherfucking building. Yes. Thank you for the motherfucking building. We love you in this motherfucking building. Thank you. Yeah. Throw all that love up in the motherfucking chat. We love you so much, you guys. Make sure you take care of yourself and take care of one another. Go ahead and get that dance on. Go ahead and show what you rocking with now. Go on, Jake. Go get them with the 1, 2 now. Go on, good roll now. Go ahead now. Go on, let me see you shaking now. Let me see you rocking, stocking now. Let me see you get it now. Go on, show it. Go on, go on. I'm mad at you. Go on, get it now. I know the beat is tight, so I'm over here shaking a little bit. A little shake, shake, shake. Go on, Dark Trish. Now shake me, shake them. Come on. Let me see it. Yeah, boy. Come on now. Yeah, boy. Y'all know how to do it now. Come on. You know how that beat go. You think it's gonna stop and then it go. Here it go. Oh, get it. Let me see it shake. Get it. Let me see it shake. Get it. Let me see it shake it now. Oh, shake it for Trigger TV. Let me see it rocking and stocking. We love you so much now. Yeah. I'm gonna get that thumbs up in the motherfucking building. Smash that thumbs up in the motherfucking building. We love you so much. I am out this motherfucker. I will see you on the next one. We love you. Yes. Throw them blue hearts up in the damn chat. Remember, Ahmad L is a Cowboys fan now, and he has switched over. Yeah. Ahmad L, you switched over from the Eagles to the Cowboys. Yeah, that's the new story. All right, that's the new story. All right. Shout out to everybody in the middle. We love you so much, you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of one another. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it and let's go. See you next. Wow.